This is Kamera again. We're on day number 271, Haggai. Haggai chapter 1 through 2. I think there's only two chapters in this book, but we only have two chapters today. Great book. And this is the thing, guys. This is the 37th book in the Bible. I think before today, I thought that it was going to be the 36th book of the Bible, but we've gone through 36 books and now we're on the 37th. So if you look at the video from yesterday, I probably said we were on the 34th and 35th day, but we were actually had read 33, 33, 30, 34 books. I don't know. But anyway, I got the numbers mixed up when I got like over the 30s. So we're on the 37th book of the Bible, Haggai. Let's read though, guys. Again, prophets. These are books of the prophets. Haggai was a prophet. And this was during the time that King Darius was in place, king of Persia. And the exiles were sent back to Jerusalem to build the temple. And that was a couple of kings before that. Cyrus was the one who sent them back. And now fast forward to Darius during that time of Darius when he was in kingship. And yeah, this is a very interesting read. I hope you guys read it because it should allow us to self-reflect, self-examine, and how we serve God and how we use what He blessed us with. Because Haggai sent a message to Zerubbabel, who was the governor at that time, and to the priest, whose name Jehozadak. He sent a message to them, and he says the people. This is what God is saying, what the people are saying. The people are saying that it is not time to build the Lord's temple. And so God says, but you're building your own homes, these luxurious homes, and you live in the life while my temple lies in ruin. So God sees what we're doing. We're trying to put ourselves in order before we put His thing in order. And God says, no. First of all, that's not even why they were even sent there in the beginning. You were sent there to build a temple, but now you're in place. You want to do what makes you happy. And so God points that out. And so I love the fact there's so much in this. I really, really do like this because listen to what He says. He says your wages, they disappear as though you were putting them in a pocket filled with holes. Rebuild my house. So you guys know how you work hard for your money, but you have no idea where your money is going. It's like you're putting your money into a bag full of holes. Well, that's what God is telling them. He says, you need to do right. He says, rebuild my house that I will take pleasure and be honored in it. He says, I blew in your money. I blew in your money. And so he says, there's no growth in your fields, and there's a drought. And so once they hear that, that's why they're not prospering, because God basically blew on their money. They're not as prosperous as they thought they were going to be or what they're working toward. You're working so hard to accomplish so much, but you're not even getting a fraction of what you should get. Yeah. So they looked at that and they said, you know what, let's do right. They decided to do right. And so this is what it says, Zerubbabel and the entire remnant, all the remnants of God's people began to obey God. And God said, I am with you. And when God told them that He was with them, there was a spark of enthusiasm to do what God wanted them to do. So get this. He told them, if you look at the version of the Bible, you read the version of the Bible where it used dates. If we went by our dates, He told them that message about His building, his temple is laying waste. August is when He sent out that message. September was when they were enthusiastically ready to build the temple. And then He tells them, God says, does anyone remember the old temple? He says, I know you feel bad about the way this temple looked, because if you look back where I think it was Ezra when they started to build on the temple. You had some people who were crying and some who was joyful. The ones who were crying, they remember what the old temple looked like. So I'm thinking this is where they're talking about this right here, where He points, I know you guys remember the old temple, how glorious it was. And I know this doesn't compare to what it was before. He says, but be strong and get to work. He says, I am with you. When you know that God is with you, it does give you a spark of enthusiasm and joy to be doing what you're doing, a confidence in what you're doing. And so he says, my spirit is among you. I love that part. And he says, in a little while, I will shake the heavens and earth, and I will have nations to bring their treasures to the temple. He says that silver is mine, the gold is mine. Yeah. And so, yeah, he says the future glory of this temple will be even have greater glory than the one in the past. So he's there to encourage the people. That was like Octoberish time. And so this part right here, guys, self-reflect, self-examine, self-evaluate. I'm telling you, this right here is so deep. He says, this is in another part where he gave this message. Haggai gave this message to Zerubbabel and the priest. He says, oh my gosh, guys, this is deep. This is deep. Will holy meat, when you put it in your robe, if you touch anything, any food, bread, grain, oil, anything, when you touch those things, this is holy meat we're talking about. Remember, they had to sacrifice this meat to God. It made it holy. If you put that in a robe and you go touch anything else, does that thing you touch, does it become holy? So Haggai was like, no. And so the priests, they said no. And so he says, if someone who is unceremonially clean, we talk about what is considered clean and unclean in the, it's on, Casey, it's on. Is it on? Is it on? Is it on? Anyway, I'll talk to you later about that. Now get this. Get this. You know how some people walk in the house and they just light up the room? That's what happened with my sister just now. So get this. Ceremonial unclean. So God talk about what's clean and what's unceremonially clean. What is ceremonial clean, what's unceremonially clean. He spent a lot of time on that in the Leviticus. And so, but you can kind of relate to this. He says, say a person is unceremonial clean. They had to go through all these rituals, stay out of the camp for a certain time before they came back in the camp. Yeah, they had to do all of that. They were considered as unclean, so they couldn't go to the festivals. They couldn't do anything at that time. And so God said, if someone is unceremonial unclean, they're ceremonial unclean, and they go and by touching a dead person, they become ceremonially unclean. They touch a dead person. They go and touch someone or any of those foods that we just mentioned. Will that food become clean? And so they're like, or will it become unclean? I'm sorry, will it become unclean? Oh, yeah, it would become unclean. For instance, if someone is clean and they go touch a person, is that person clean? No, they're not. If someone go and touch some dirt and then they go and touch a person, yeah, or anything, that thing is clean now. It needs to be clean. It needs to be purified. But get this part where it becomes deep. Well, he said, this is how this people is. This is what this people is. This is what these people are. Everything they offer is defiled by their sin. And then he points out things that they participate in. For instance, if the work that they're doing, you expect 50 bushels of wheat or what have you, but you're only getting 10. If you're expecting an abundance of something, but you are sinning, or you're doing something that is not right in God's eyes. We're not talking about people's opinion. We're talking about in God's eyes. That's why it's good to keep God in your life, so he'll be the one that lets you know. Sometimes we can be deaf and then we need confirmation by someone else. I don't like to be deaf, because when I think I'm right and I'm looking at the scriptures and I'm examining God, I'm talking to God, I still feel like, well, it wasn't that serious. I'll ask another person just to someone who I feel like, oh, I love you too much, not to tell you the truth. I go to the person who I feel is going to be objective in the thing and tell me the truth. And I be needing to know. And so he says, think about it. Everything you touch is defiled because of your sin. You're not going to reap the benefits, the full benefits, because of your sin. You're only getting a fraction of your blessing. You're working hard where you should be making buku money, right? You're doing all this work where you're expecting abundance of results. You're working hard, but you're not getting but a fraction of your expectation. And I mean a fair. I'm not talking about, well, I worked hard, I'm supposed to be getting much, but you really didn't work that hard for it. You just put in what you felt like you want to put into, but in reality, you really didn't do that well. But you're expecting so much. I'm talking about true, honest to God work. And so that's what God was telling them. They are unclean. And so they working in the field for all this stuff right here to reap this benefit. And God said He's causing a drought. He's causing them to not be fruitful. You can't do that. You just can't. Either you are, yeah. If you're trusting God, you got to be all in. And we are human, but God created us, and He's expecting us to give it all to Him. Our whole mind, our whole heart, our whole body, our whole soul. I mean, I love when Pastor David Hughes, he'll say, you think God just wants your money? He don't just want your money. Oh, no, He's more ambitious than that. He want your whole mind, your body, your whole spirit. Oh, He don't just want your money. But you know what? He deserves it, though. He is the one that's going to give you the strength and the favor to get the things. Yeah. And, you know, it's all of it's Him. He's going to grant you the favor to get. He's going to give you the strength to do it, the mind to do, to get whatever. And so He deserves that. And so I'm just saying, though, yeah. That scripture, guys, today's read, you have to read, and ask God to show you what He wants you to learn from this. I really enjoyed that, guys. But get this, that was day number 271, Haggai chapter 1 through 2. And tomorrow we're going to be doing, what are we going to be doing? Oh my God, I can't think of the next book. The next book, Zephaniah? Is it Zephaniah? No, we did Zephaniah. Guys, I really need to do better. I need to do better, for real. But anyway, day number 271, Haggai, chapter 1 through 2. You have a God-filled, blessed day.